should be on a case-by-case basis because they're all different kinds of crimes.
You have to judge each incident on its own merits. You can't make a blanket decision.
It should be mandatory sentencing. If they kill someone, they need to either be killed or tortured.
Something needs to be done about what's happening. I mean, there's got to be some way to stop this. So maybe if there's mandatory, and that'll help take care of things.
My husband was shot, and the guy who shot him is out, walking around. What's to stop him from doing it to somebody else?
That's what people had to say in person when we asked them if violent offenders should get mandatory sentencing. We also want your opinion in this next segment about nonviolent offenders. Do they belong behind bars? If you want to tell us what you think, you can email me at cn8.tv if you're unable to get through on the telephone lines. I see a lot of people who are waiting. Try to be patient. I'll get into those calls as quickly as I can. Right now, though, I want to talk with Eric. Eric is on the line. Eric, thank you for calling. I understand that you say you knew Daniel Giddings, the man who killed this police officer in Philadelphia?
Yes.
You served time with him?
Yes, I did in Albion State Prison.
Okay. What can you tell us about him?
Well, it's a side of DeMille that everybody don't know. Like, he has a softer side as well. He's a kind person, but he's also, the people that you know, the person that y'all know there is like, a lot of that stems from what goes on inside the prison. Like the way guards treat people while they're there. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people come out, including Daniel himself, come out with an attitude like they don't want to go back to deal with that, and that translates out to the street. So once you get out here and, you know, the everyday hustle and bustle of city life, and once you go up against a cop, I mean, you just automatically flash back to what's happening in the prison, so you already had an attitude about the police from the gate.
I was told by a source that Daniel Giddings was heard to say that he was not going back to prison no matter what, and that many people feel like that's why he engaged in this gun battle with these police and ultimately lost his life. Can you see him making that kind of statement, that he just didn't want to go back?
Oh, yes, I've heard him make the statement before.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the reason why he made the statement is because of what happens in there. Like, you know, people go in there, and you got to remember, you know, we were both young when we went to prison.
Right.
And when you're young in there, you still have a wild side to you, regardless of what sins you have. You're 16 to 17-year-old, which I was 16 at the time, 17-year-old. I mean, you know, you still had this feisty side to you. Daniel had a feisty side to him as well in there. And it's like I said, prison don't really do nothing for you. It doesn't really rehabilitate you. You're going to do that on your own. I've been out for 16, 17 years, and I've been straight. So it's not everyone that goes out there and do anything. And
well, let me ask you this, Eric. How come you stayed straight? How come you served your time and came out for 16, 17 years, and you didn't get in trouble, and other people come out and commit heinous crimes?
Doyle, let me tell you, Ms.
What's
Doyle,
the difference?
It's perseverance. I mean, I'll never want to say that it's not hard for me or it wasn't hard for me. Even now, it's very, very hard for me to find a job, and that is very, very frustrating.
Is it because people know that you're an ex-con and they don't give you a chance?
They don't give you a chance. Like and it's crazy because a lot of people that do get jobs, a lot of them take it for granted and maybe not go to work this day and this way. And I believe that a lot of people that look for these jobs, even if it's ex-convicts, are willing to work like they're supposed to work. It's so hard out here to get a job, so it literally forces you back to doing what you if you wasn't in criminal activity, it forces you back to do that.
So it's a horrible catch-22 because you get out, you want to go straight, you want to do right, but no one gives you a chance, and you feel frustrated, and eventually you go back into a life of crime. Is that fair? Am I understanding what you're telling me?
Exactly. I mean, like for instance, with my case, like I've heard Daniel say what he said, and he did say what he said, but coming back out here, and there's also been time when he said, man, I don't even think that way no more. Like, there's also been time when he said, I just want to go home and get a job and just do right, man. I got kids, and I just want to do this and do that. And, like, even in my case, I've then went to, it's so hard when you go to your state representative, you fill out an application, and you have to put on there that you're a convicted felon. And then, you know, some people may give you an interview, and once they find out, they automatically reject you. You try to go to school, you
Right.
can't go to school. It's hard for us, and people just don't realize that there's a lot of people out here that's trying their best to stay out here. I've been out here, like I said, 17
Right.
years.
Let's get some reaction, because Eric, I mean, your voice is very strong because you've been there. We can all talk about it here, and we can get phone calls and we can read the emails, but you've been there, so your voice is a very strong one. I want to get some reaction to that, because we're talking about the resources that either do or don't exist for people like Eric. Is there enough out there to help this guy stay straight?
Well, there's a lot of things going on now to try, a lot of reentry programs, but the point that I thought Eric was very, the point he made that I really wanted to embellish on a little bit was when he talked about the obstacles that have been put in place of former offenders getting hired.
Right.
A lot of those have come about because of policy making that has been driven by situations like this one. And that's why I said earlier in the discussion that there's a real danger we face now, because we are all very much emotionally impacted by what's happened here. And we want to come to some solution. And it's not going to be an easy, quick fix.
It's not a quick fix, Chris. It's one of those things where, as Mr. has said throughout the show, we have to start with the young people. The community has to give back to them. Then we have to deal with the people who go to jail. And then we have to deal with people like Eric and make opportunities for them, if they want to stay straight, to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And Eric was extremely eloquent. And as you said, I mean, he was a true voice here. And this is somebody who's been through everything. And I give him a lot of credit. And he seems to have a lot of courage. But we can't lose focus of the fact that, again, Daniel Giddings was, I mean, regardless of what may have happened to him in prison, regardless of what may have happened to him early in life, he made the decision when he got out of jail to kill a police officer. And this is something that, if he had this propensity for violence, this should have been taken into consideration by that parole board. He should not have been out on that street.
All right, Mr. I know that we were having some technical problems. I hope that I can fill you in here on what we've been discussing. We've talked to Eric, who actually knew.
Yeah, I heard briefly. I
Okay,
heard the beginning
he
of
knew
the
Daniel
conversation,
Giddings.
then we went black.
Right, he knew Daniel Giddings, and he said that there was a frustration level because he just couldn't seem to make it on the outside, just didn't get the kind of opportunities. Is it a question of whether or not there are enough opportunities within the prison walls, or is it more what happens when these people are finally released?
I think that it starts within those walls. I was going to ask Christine, because I know that, you know, E. Stephen Collins, I know that he does a lot of work in the community. And I was just recently at the Youth Study Center in Philadelphia 3 weeks ago. And I invite all of the callers, all of the people, all of the lawyers and professionals who are calling up saying throw away the key, they're monsters, to go into these youth prisons and talk to these young people and look them in their eye. Like, if you can go in there and look them in their eye and say that, then you're cold. But I absolutely don't think that that'll be the case. You'll see that there are people with concerns and issues. These kids have issues.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but we do have to take a break. We're going to get some final thoughts on what you had to say, Mr. Eric. Hey, thank you so much for your phone call, and we wish you the best of luck staying straight.
If you want to see more of this episode of It's Your Call, you can with Comcast On Demand. Using your Comcast cable, go to Channel 1, get local, CN8, and then choose It's Your Call, CN8. On air, online, and on demand.